Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero, along with the other host,
Tristan Walter.
I'm in love with Doctor Who again, Tristan.
Yay! I am too.
As if I matter to their ratings or anything.
I mean, as if you didn't still enjoy the show, which I still do anyway.
Well, of course.
Too,
that's why I said fell in love.
Right.
I can like something.
Yes.
But I can put up with parts of it, and for a bit I was putting up with parts of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Like, let's be honest here, right? You and I both agree, or at least I think somewhat. Nothing. Well, I know we agree on this first part. Nothing wrong with Jenna Louise Coleman. Great actress. Played Clara very well, and she did a good job.
Yeah.
Just not liking what was going on with Clara, and I'm just happy to have someone who now is officially, like, look, I know that, she's going to be on for another series, then she'll know what's going on, but I just don't want to have another companion for a while that is essentially on the Doctor's level, if not better than him.
Right.
Again, there are bits and pieces where I understand if the Doctor's going to be incapacitated. I mean, as of right now, we're doing episodes 1 to 6. The Doctor's blind. So, yeah, Bill is on, a better footing than the Doctor, just on that alone. But at the same time,
right.
I don't want Bill to have to make a speech about how in all of time and space she can be the Doctor. Like, I don't need to have any more of that.
Right.
Like, if you're going to have, like, when you get to the point when you have Clara giving all those speeches about essentially, or like, or all this, like, this is general, like, these situations that make it seem like, oh yeah, Clara can be the Doctor, then she's not a companion to me. Like, Doctor Who companion is different from, like, bringing a friend along. I know, I'm sure the idea is, like, you can call them the Doctor's friends, but, like, to me, it's like you bring a friend, it's not like you're the leader, you're the one in charge. But in the case of Doctor Who, the idea of a companion is like, no, yeah, the Doctor is the 2000, apparently now 2000, the 2,000-year-old Time Lord, and you, you are not. You are 25. Brilliant, I'm sure, but you're 25. Right? So,
yeah.
I'm happy that Bill, like, I'm not saying I want every companion, male or female, to be a complete idiot and be like, oh, what is walking? What is the outside? Like I don't want, that to be like a companion. That's just like, I'm okay with, people showing, like, little bits here and there of like, oh, wow, like, you bested the Doctor. But it was just getting too much with Clara. And I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but it was just getting too much. And I'm just very, very happy to have Bill.
Yeah.
So that's just
it's
what
funny,
I'm saying.
like, Bill kind of reminds me of other characters. I guess, like, thinking back to, like, Donna or Rose, like, she's clever, but she's it's not like book smart like Martha or Clara. She has her moments, or, like, I guess in a can't think of a better phrase to put this, but, like, street smart. Like, in the one episode with the Thames River, and the Doctor asked the guy at the docks, like, oh, we need to find out, who's chaining up the monster. And he goes, have you seen, a character with a tattoo of a sailboat? He's like, we're at the docks. And he goes, yeah, and she's like, Doctor, he kind of has a point. Never mind the tattoo. Have you seen anybody suspicious? It's like,
yeah,
thank you,
and
Bill.
The Doctor is still thoroughly confused. But I think everyone, and if you didn't get it, people listening at home, the idea is everyone's going to have a tattoo visible of a sailboat when you're near the dock, and that's where you work. Like, that's just the time period, right? Now, granted, the Doctor should have said on the person's hand or something, but still, like,
but, like,
it was
it's moments like those where she can shine, and it's just like something just doesn't register to the doctor, and she's like, all right, I got this, just give me a second.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? But it's a bit different that compared to, who are you? I'm the doctor. And you're just like, just make her the doctor. Like, I would have had no problem if you cast Jenna Louise Coleman as the doctor. Now, of course, you can't. But with the way she played her character in some respects, I was like, great doctor. But as a companion, it's just like, why? Like, you're outgrowing. Like, when you outgrow the doctor and you are either at his level or even better in some ways, that's when you move on to host your own show, potentially, right? So like, you look at Sarah Jane, they obviously, originally she left for different reasons. But when they brought her back, she was so good at that point that it's like, you give her Sarah Jane Adventures. You didn't sit there and go, you know what, let's have Sarah Jane be with the doctor for 2 series.
Right.
You know? Jack Harkness. Like, yes, I would like more Jack in my life, but after a while it was like, yes, let's give them Torchwood. Now, granted, of course, you know, money, like, that's the obvious reason. But just as a character, like, yes, they're doing their own things. They're not just going to travel with the doctor for 2 years. Or, you know, God knows how long. For 2 years for us. Technically longer than 2 years, by the way, because it was, you know. But, so, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm bitter and I'm still complaining. It's just that I loved these 6 episodes so much because, of course, we are doing series 10 episodes 1 to 6. I love them so much that I am angry. I am so happy. I am furious. Like, at first, I was so delighted with something new, with the colors not being as deep, dark blue and sci-fi, you know, like all this, being vibrant, right? And then the scripts were fun, and of course there's little bits here and there that I didn't enjoy. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that every single episode was perfect because that's silly, right? Like, despite the fact that I loved them, I can't do that. But at the same time, I loved it so much that I kind of looked around and I was like, where have they been keeping these writers? Which some of them have worked on Who before.
Where's this been?
Yes. Now, to be fair, 2 things. One, they have, these writers have, many of them have only done 1 or 2 episodes of Who before. That's the first thing. So they're fresh. Something even more important is that, although, yes, the thought is, Moffat, where have you been? What have you been doing? But also remember that there was a huge gap between these. So they had a lot of time to polish.
True.
And kind of steer themselves into a certain direction and commit to it. Now, I'm not going to say that, they haven't done that in the past. But, I mean, still on a yearly basis, you know, you never know what can happen, especially with a company saying, we want to go in this direction. And if you can't pester them in time, then whatever they say is final. So I don't know if, you know, because I know that Moffat used to say, I wanted to do more 2-parters. And they were like, no. And obviously, if you had maybe more time or, you know, something, you know, or eventually they gave it to him and then they were okay. They weren't the worst, but in some cases the 2-parters were a bit too thin. So far, with these 6 episodes, no 2-parters, but every episode is actually a delight. And which maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the fact that even though I wanted the 2-parters, when they came out, like I had just said, a little thin, now that we have full meaty plots, I'm like, we don't need 2-parters for right now. We're good. Right. So you can alternate. That's cool. But yeah, no, I'm just loving every episode. Again, little things that we'll talk about, but I don't know if I can choose a favorite. I want to choose 6, but it's very hard to choose a favorite.
Right.
See? There you go.
Yeah, it's oof.
There you go.
Pick a favorite. I guess for me,
it's killing them, everyone.
You know what? It's funny you say that because I think I'd have to go with the 2nd episode.
Smile.
It is really killing me.
They can hear you.
You could say it's turning me into fertilizer, Matt.
Yep. You're fertilizing our podcast. As am I. Why? Because we're
Please
shit.
Never say that again.
Oh, okay. What, the fertilizing our podcast?
Yeah. What did I just say? God damn it.
Why?
Anyway,
Why does that phrase? Is that your version of moist?
Stop.
Is that just okay?
Stop.
Okay. I'm on thin ice, pal. I'm looking up episode titles right now.
Oh my fucking god. I'm the only one who is given the go-ahead to kick your ass.
Hey, whoa, buddy. I'm just standing over here breathing oxygen. You're getting a little bit extremous. We just got to relax. I can't fit in Knock Knock or the pilot, and I'm a little sad. But just a little bit. So here's the thing, right? I'm going to be one of these jerks, and I'm going to say that I saw it coming that Missy was behind the
door in the vault.
Yeah, the door, just the wall, the security fortress, whatever that is. She's behind it. The thing that confuses me, though,
I saw it too.
But what's confusing is why. And some people might be confused. Matt, you've seen 1 through 6. You know why. But I still don't know why. Because even though it's like, well, no, but the thing is, the doctor will care for her, will take her body there, and yada, yada, yada. But why would she agree to that? And why isn't she out yet? She loves the doctor. She wants to hang out with him, right? They're best mates. But why?
And I'm thinking we'll see that reason later on in this series.
Well, yes, we're playing catch up, and I know that we're going to see it later, But also, I have to admit, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it unless she breaks out soon. I'm not the biggest fan of it being released this early in the season because I was really digging the idea of each and every episode having some kind of clear tie-in the same way that we used to have Bad Wolf or Torchwood or Harold Saxton, right?
Yeah.
So I was happy to have those in the background just going on while the doctor is doing stuff and having Nardole just kind of coming over Nardole coming over and just being all like, hey, okay, the doctor might not be here, but I am, so yeah. And
it's
stuff
funny.
like that.
I think like the knocking back was like, so I'm going to guess Missy. The real dead giveaway for me was when you hear the piano and she starts playing Pop Goes the Weasel. I died, and I'm like, well, I know you're in there.
Even the piano in general, I was like, that's Missy. You know what? Okay, it was a few things. Well, because at first I was like, who's in there or what's in there? I assumed it was like some beast, or I thought, actually no, at first I thought it was an item. Like, I am guarding this item. Then I thought, I guess because they said like, in there, it's in there. I was like, or whatever's in there. I was like, it's a person or it's a beast or something.
Right.
Then,
some kind of being.
Yes. Then I assumed it was Missy because I think when Nardole said, just because the doctor isn't here, and I was like, yeah, someone that respects the doctor but completely shits on you, that's Missy.
Right.
So it was at that point I was like, yeah, also new friend. And I was like, yeah, that's Missy. And even when he, like, also the fact that he comes in with food. Like, when he came in with all that food in Knock Knock, I was like, he wants Nardole to leave because he brought all the kids there because they don't have a place to stay for the night.
Right.
Like, I thought he brought food because it was like, you're hungry. Like, it looked like a lot of food. It didn't look like just food for 2 people. So I thought it was like, he is actually, like, bringing these kids here, and they're going to be like, party! But no. And I'm like, Matt, why would they do that? Well, A, I don't know what's behind the door yet, officially. And B, and this is the most important, they already know about the monster, so they didn't dip their toe in. They did a cannonball. So, like...
Right.
Unless the doctor wiped all their minds, which maybe we'll find out later. But as far as we know right now, they are all very painstakingly aware of just the world around them. So, one of them's going to be like, I didn't believe my cousin. He actually goes to this school in the area. High schooler, did not believe him. Now I saw wood people. I believe that little shit. I'm going to call him up right now. But yeah, it's just, that would be but when in Knock Knock with all the university kids, I was like, why didn't you just replace them with the kids from class? That would have been the best crossover.
Oh, God.
Not that they would all die, although I think you would appreciate that because you're a sick fuck, but I just thought that it would be fun. I just thought that it would be fun to introduce them because...
No, not all of them. We keep Quill.
I said kids. That's why I said the teenagers.
Oh, all right. Yeah, fair enough.
All right, sick fun.
Never mind, continue.
No, but I'm just saying that I think it would have been a really cool crossover and kind of like try to be a way to like boost the ratings if it's like bring them into one of these episodes. Like, I know it's good that we focused on Bill and her personal life and these friends that I assume will keep on making appearances. Like, I really hope they all just weren't filler, because that would be pretty shit. Like, she lives with 5 other people, but we're never going to see them again. I'd be like, oh, come on, guys, really? But,
well, I think it also plays up to the point she makes. It's like, I appreciate you helping out and everything and your concern, but, like, this is the part of my life that you're not in.
Well, because, that's what's interesting. With every other companion, right, there's always, like, maybe it's because he was a little bit younger, like, as the doctor, I don't know, like, but because, like, a lot of other, we're talking about Nuhu, by the way, like, with Rose, it was like, well, he got introduced to Mom, so whatever, right? With Martha, parents hated him. Fair enough. With Donna, parents were on the fence, I think, loved him, right? Amy and Rory, well, didn't really see much of the parents, actually, other than Rory's dad. And Rory's dad loved him, right? I'm trying to think of all the companions, like, in order. And then, of course, with Clara, orphan. So that was super easy to win her over. She was an orphan, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Because she had her grandma, but I'm pretty sure her parents were, like, on the scale of 0 to dead, they were really high up there. Like, I'm pretty sure they were pretty high up on the dead scale.
Right.
Either way.
I don't actually remember, but yeah.
My point is that still, like, I feel as if the Doctor is very easy for him to win over people, maybe with a younger face or just in general, but, like, usually it felt like he was so entwined in their lives that it'd be like, oh, I'm going home, you want to stop by? But in this case, because he's planted himself as a university professor, and even though she knows, like, oh, yeah, he travels around the world, he's super cool, I love him, great guy, but he's still Mr. Crotchety old man. Like, if she met 11, she wouldn't be saying that shit. I don't think.
I mean, well,
like, I'm not saying she'd want him there, but I feel like she'd be like, listen, like, Doctor. Like, in this case, I feel like it's not so much, it is the Doctor, yes, but it's more so like, I know you as my professor.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she, like, I don't know, like, to me, I feel like, I'm not saying that she'd want him to stay, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that when it comes to 10 and 11, like, I feel like 9 and 12 have this air about them of, like, listen, you're more of, like, a dad, granddad to me. But with 10 and, like, that's what I'm saying.
Please,
but with
father,
11,
at least.
Yes. But with 10 and 11, I feel as if, I don't know, like, I honestly think that with 11, it would be like, why do you want your really cool friend to go? And, like, one of the girls there would be interested in him. And he would just be like, yeah. With 10, I feel like he'd be like, oh, come on, I'm cool, I'm hip. Which I know, like, the Doctor was trying to be hip with those kids. God, I loved it so much.
Right. Hang
Hang tight. I What did he say? I think he said exactly where he was like, I was trying to be hip with the kids. Yeah, please stop.
Right.
Awesome. Oh, man. But still, my point is that I feel like this is such an interesting dynamic and one that we haven't really seen with the Doctor. And it has nothing to do with the fact that, that Bill is gay. Like,
right.
it could. You could, someone could be like, oh, and also, but it doesn't matter because she can be straight and she doesn't have to be in with the Doctor. Right?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter
true.
if she was straight or gay. It's the idea that she's a student and he is a professor.
Right.
So it's like, listen, you're not, which I know could be the same thing if, he was the professor as any of the other doctors. But still, in this case specifically, it's not just the Doctor, it's also being the professor. Like, no. You're not part of my life. But I don't know, because maybe he's like, because he's the Doctor, he has this charisma. I feel like some of the students actually wanted him to be around. It was so weird. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I know that you don't like that class, the teenagers in class were a bit too rambunctious. They're a bit too teenage, hormonal. You didn't like that, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't it feel weird that we got, like, literally the exact opposite here? Where, like,
I mean,
I don't know. I'm not saying that when we were in college, all of us in our group, that we were like, woo, party, get out the beer, right? But I just think that it's weird that, like, in this episode of Doctor Who, the one that we get, they're all like, well, gosh golly darn, I mean, if we don't have our phones, I don't know what we're going to do. Oh, John over there listens to music all the time. Yeah, he's a bit of a nut. It's like,
I mean,
okay.
I feel like the way you worded that, like...
well, no, but I mean,
sounds
like...
weird, but...
No, but that's what I'm trying to say, like, just... Well, no, but I'm trying to say, like, just the way the episode Knock Knock specifically, like, had all these students, they all seem very, like, prim and proper, and it's kind of funny because we had the Vatican in episode 6, but I feel like with episode 4, they're all just like, guys, we have to do prayer circle. We all love Jesus very much.
I mean...
Like, they all seemed really chill.
Okay. I mean, I didn't... How do I word this? I guess you don't see as much of them. You just see them at this point in the house getting along. Like, they still play jokes, like the one guy joking with them, and then they realize, oh God, he's being eaten alive. Like, they still play jokes on each other, and they're still each of them still have their own quirks, and they're still young, yeah. But they're not.
No. Look, I'm not saying we need them to, like, praise the Dark Lord, but we don't even have one goth. Like, what's going on here? Like, not even one of them was punk. Wasn't that interesting? Like, they just all felt so, like. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, all of them were just like, hello, wow, we would love it if he was here. Like, I know maybe in their head they're like, oh, that's, her grandfather. But even she's just like, listen, can you leave? And they're all like, no, but let's just play some hip happening tunes. And I'm like, what year are we in? One of them has to say the word fuck. I mean, what year are we in? Like, what's...
well,
like, what's
it's
going
a family TV show like you keep going on about, Matt, so...
They said ass a lot.
I mean, yeah.
That's new.
Yeah. I mean, he
Bill
was
said,
using like the line that jumps out at me. It's like, don't assume it makes an ass out of you. I love how he didn't say me too, because that's the whole phrase. He just stopped at you from the bishop from the Vatican.
That I pissed myself because literally. No, because it's literally like, assume you make an ass out of you and me. And it's just like, no, you make an ass out of you. And literally it's just like, yes, doctor, say that to a cardinal. But,
right.
yes, in front of the Pope, no less. Oh,
right.
By the way, so here's something interesting. You want to know?
Okay.
Oh, shit. You want to know why we should have thought that, I'm getting goosebumps, why we should have thought that that was a hologram the entire time? And why it makes perfect sense?
The world they were in? Yeah.
Yeah. The Pope spoke Italian.
Right.
The TARDIS translates every language.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Okay, I didn't think of it in the sense like, yeah, it's a hologram, so it doesn't have all the necessary like data entries, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was a plot
I picked up on that too. Like as soon as he started speaking Italian, and it lasted the whole episode, I'm like, why the fuck isn't the TARDIS translating that? What the fuck is going on?
And
like,
I think
thought it
that
was just an oversight at first, but now that you put it that way, yeah, that actually makes sense.
To be fair, it might still be, but Moffat is a little crazy like a fox when it comes to twists and turns and like tiny things like that. So, like, granted, I know there's been some episodes under his reign, not written by him, but under his reign, where like certain people have spoken languages and they haven't been translated, but they haven't been talked about in episode as like, oh, it's untranslatable or something. I know it's happened before, but in this case, it actually makes sense because if anyone, because some people were saying, oh, I didn't really get what was going on, I didn't really get the episode, so people weren't able to follow it. And I'm not like saying that it's a problem that people couldn't, but if someone couldn't follow what happened, basically aliens, this is episode 6 we're referring to, copy-pasted the Earth, essentially. So they like copied everything that the Earth had ever been and ever was up until that point, and then
run a
pasted
simulation
it.
Of taking over.
Basically, exactly. So they pasted it into like put it into a arguably a computer that projected it out, or just a projector that projected all that information out. So the aliens weren't living with them the whole time. They technically just stopped in the year 2017 at that exact moment because they're like, well, that's when we're going to invade, right here. But no, because that's the thing, that they're not from the future. They're aliens from the year 2017. Technically, our year would be 2017. God knows what the galactic year would be. But so they are like, oh yes, we're going to invade. But instead of just invading because we could easily get throttled, we're going to copy paste and we're going to run this simulation. And apparently they've run the simulation more than once because again, they're not idiots. So they're like, let's keep on running it. And we don't stop him, but let's see if there's any situation where they could stop us.
Right.
So basically, that's the thing. They copy-pasted. But because they copy-pasted, they wouldn't have copied the TARDIS. Because if they could copy-paste the TARDIS, why the fuck do you want to invade? You have the TARDIS. You know?
Well,
but because remember, they copied the Earth. So if the Doctor was like, let me go in my TARDIS and go to, like, space, he couldn't. That's why he only went to Bill's room. But granted, why would he have gone to space in that scenario? But still, that's the thing. In that scenario, there's no need for him to fly off into space. So maybe in this new scenario, like when the Doctor sent, quote-unquote, himself the data, he might be like, maybe I'll try to go to space just to know that this isn't a projection. Because they only projected the Earth. They didn't take the entire galaxy.
Yeah. Right.
Because that would be way too much. Like, they're aliens, but, like, that would be crazy if it was just like, wait a minute, no, you have the entire universe. It's like, okay, chill. Right. That's a lot of information to just copy-paste like that. But they did it for the Earth, so technically the Doctor wouldn't be able to go off-world. The fact that he can even use it is crazy, but obviously it only went to, any area in the surrounding, like, Earth.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing.
Just as a
future
reference,
TARDIS wouldn't work. What?
Whenever I have a date, whenever that magical moment happens, do not, under any circumstance, bring the Pope into my bedroom. Right,
okay.
Noted. Will not happen again. Bridge under the water. Now.
I paused it.
Right.
And I laughed for about a good 5 minutes. The reason why is because clearly, was her friend's name, or the girl that she fancies, was her name Pepper? Was that what it was?
Penny,
thank you. Penny. No, here's why I'm saying it. Penny, seemingly, we're just from the context alone, grew up in a religious family. So even though she has these feelings, she still feels as if there is something amiss in her because of her upbringing.
Right.
That's just the context that I get. So the moment it's okay, you're allowed to like another girl. The fucking Pope comes in.
The Pope comes out of her bedroom.
The fucking Pope.
Yeah.
And then imagine.
Oh God.
And then
I never thought of it like that.
That, right? What?
Oh Jesus! No, I didn't think of it like that. I thought it was just like, this is too fucking weird. I'm getting out of here. It's like, no, this is actually, oh God, hell is going to rain down upon me.
Well, that's the first thought. The next thought was, this is weird because there's cardinals in her bedroom with a 1960s police box.
Right.
You know what that reminds me of? This reminds me of, there's this comic called The Superior Foes of Spider-Man. So it was this group of literally only 5 people that were going around. They were villains, of course. They were all known villains, but like C and D level villains. And they were all, or B, yeah, usually some B, but like, and so they were all like, yes, we're the Sinister Six. I was like, John, there's only 5 of us. Yeah, but we don't have to split the loot by 6. Do you want to get another person? That guy? We are the Sinister Six, John. So it was hilarious, and but the way the first comic ever came out of this, it was a very short run, but I loved it. The way it started off with the guy, his name is Boomerang. That's the villain. He wakes up in bed, right, normal clothes, but he wakes up in bed, sees these dudes standing at the foot of his bed, all in like fucking red robes, like completely covering their body, their face, and he goes, so. Is this a sex thing? So I just see, like, blue telephone box, people dressed up as cardinals staring all around her bed. You walk in.
Right.
So, is this a sex thing?
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Well...
Oh, I don't think her mom would judge her if she was gay, but I love the fact that the mom doesn't know.
Well, that's not her mom. That's the landlord, basically, or her roommate. Her mom's dead.
But I thought, I'm sorry, in my head I thought that was her adopted mom. Sorry.
Nope. No, they're roommates. She owns the apartment. Bill rents.
Oh, okay. That's weird. Because the reason why she was able to move in so quickly, I thought for some odd reason there was something like there.
No.
Because she's always butting into her
the
business.
money, but she's just kind of strict and other choice
No,
words.
it's fine. It's just because that's the thing. When the way she said like, bringing in these men and yada yada. Like I know it's funny too. Some people might go, but that's a weird relationship for a mother-daughter to have. Like the fact that she'd have the men coming in like that and stuff like that. And I'm like, when you get old enough as a child, it's just like whatever. So I thought it was like an adopted thing, but no. I'll defer to you, especially because you've seen later episodes and you've probably focused on these in that regard a bit more than I have, because I was just focusing on everything else. So I was like, I guess they're mother-daughter something, whatever. And then because I know that the mother died, but the weird thing though is, and this is one thing that now I'll start talking about some things that I didn't like or that we didn't like. I understand that when she saw the face of the doctor taking the picture, like I understand, like, you know, you're going to be shocked. She came to him, obviously, duh. But, like, wouldn't you, like, I thought you were going to be like, what the hell? And I know other stuff was going on at the time. I guess you can say she got distracted by some other things, like monster-related. But still, wasn't it weird to me that, like, she never asked about that again? Like, it seemed like that plot with her mom was really strong, and you thought it was going to be a very strong bond and something that really mattered in her life. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, and someone could say, she got closure because of those pictures, but, like, just literally we didn't see anything about her mom until Knock Knock, and that was, like, 2 episodes later. And that's just weird to me, you know?
Yeah,
Is it just me?
I mean,
like, when that's such a... Yeah.
Well, there is a part later that comes into play.
Cool. That's fine. No, that's fine.
That helps her.
It's just like No, that's fine. It's just like for me, like I don't talk about my dad every day, but like if you were focusing on that as like the crux of my story, right?
Yeah.
It would just be really weird if I was just like, ooh, other things.
Right.
You know? Granted, I know she's traveling through space and time. You get distracted. Get a little distracted.
I think like the doctor just bringing back the photos and giving it to her because, you know, she asked the question even to him, does photos of, you know, people who are gone really help? And I love the fact that in his office in the university he has a picture of his granddaughter in River. That's really nice.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
So, but he just looks up at her and doesn't say anything, and then, you know, he pops back in time and brings her this box. Yeah, I thought she was going to be a little like, how the hell or why, like, why would you do this?
Why is her face in there?
Now, when you say...
The thing is... Wait, so you might not remember because I don't know if you rewatched these. There was a specific picture that she saw that had a mirror in the background, and you can see the doctor's reflection taking the picture. So he actually met her mother, somehow convinced her to get her picture taken,
right,
and then traveled to the future, you know, back in the present, and then
it's funny.
I guess put the box in the attic.
Yeah, I feel like Bill's mom would be that person of, look, I don't have time to explain, but, you know, these are going to be from your daughter, or these are going to be for your daughter. It's like, can I just take a few? You know, just pop in once in a while throughout your life just so she has something. And I feel like of all, like, Bill's mom would be like, yeah, that's cool. And completely, like, trust him with it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, another reason why
and not
I thought
in a bad
she
way,
was...
but, like, just, you know, like, she's cool with it.
Yeah, another reason why I thought that she was a, if not like a foster mom, at least some kind of caretaker for Bill, is because she said, oh, I didn't realize we had any pictures of your mom up there. So it doesn't seem like something that a random landlord...
I mean, maybe. I just feel like she's very into others. Like, that's just her character, her nature. She's into other people's business, so she was probably, like, cleaning the apartment or something and found them and, like, oh, these are yours. I didn't throw them out, but they don't belong there. Something like that, you know?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I'm just saying that, like, I thought that she had a bigger role in her life. And she technically could, to be fair. It doesn't have to just be, like, she can be a little bit more, a little bit. But still, like, she had, to me, I was like, oh, so she has a role in her life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like she was just
the
like...
kind of oppressive landlord.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. So now, I asked you what episode you liked the most. Now, this is not saying that you disliked any of the episodes, but what episode did you like the least?
Probably have to say Knock Knock.
Ooh. Ouch.
I don't know.
Cried.
Like,
I literally cried. Yeah.
It's just out of all of these, I think it was the weakest one in comparison. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I like the kind of Scooby-Doo-esque, and even, I'm pretty sure Bill even said it at one point, you know, frickin' Scooby-Doo house, you know, when the floorboards are creaking and everything, and she's trying to, like, it's like, no, it's okay, there's no aliens, there's no puddles, there's no emoji robots, it's fine, we're on Earth, it's just a house.
Speaking of emoji robots, that one is probably my least favorite.
Well, there you go. Ow.
Actually, no. Matt, why did you change your mind? Because I remembered. Smile. No. Actually, it might have to go with Capitalism, the one where they were with the zombies. That might be my least favorite because it just feels like you said, oh, that one felt like something that, you know, they used to do a lot. Like, it seems like a standard, like, plot under Moffat. And to that I say, even though Moffat didn't write it, yeah, it does feel like something they've done a lot. So it's a strange situation, you know? Like I guess, like I'm sitting there and I'm like,
in a sense you're right, Matt. It's the same story. We're fighting the suits.
It really fucking is, man.
I did
No,
like how
and look,
he backed them all into a corner at the end, though. He's like, all right. It's like, beforehand we were too expensive to keep alive. Now we're too expensive for you to kill. So go ahead. Do it. Let's see you try. But you'll be losing that much more money if you kill us.
and it wasn't
Like, if
bad,
we go,
by
the
way.
whole station goes.
Yeah. So I want to really drive the point home that I'm not saying, oh, that's a bad episode. It was just written, and I want to find the exact writer who wrote it. It was written by a writer who writes a lot of episodes like that for Doctor Who.
Right.
So, let's go down the list, shall we? Because, we were talking about writers a lot over the past few shows, but I think we definitely sat back and we made it seem like Moffat was the only writer in some ways, and I feel like that's rude. It's no, there are a bunch of different writers that collaborate. So, of course, Moffat will write the quote-unquote bigger episodes, but yeah, so let's look at some of the writers right now. So for the first episode, the pilot, which is funny because I thought, oh, they're calling it the pilot because obviously, it's the first episode of this soft reboot like Doctor Who usually does with a new companion. And then during the episode, they're like, we found the pilot, and I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So I was like, you motherfuckers. Anyway, so the pilot was written by Moffat. And then we have Smile that was written by, let me make sure I have this here, Smile. Frank Cottrell Boyce, who I believe this was his first Doctor Who episode, which, if I believe it was, I want to make sure. Even if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure he may have written one other one. Let's find out, shall we? Yes, I'm sorry, he did. He wrote In the Forest of the Night, which, of course, you remember In the Forest of the Night, Tristan.
That was that 11?
No. That was literally London getting overrun by trees.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Which wasn't a bad episode from what I remember.
Yeah.
I think I liked it. It's funny, I'm trying to think back to the podcast, which literally was 3 years ago when the episode aired. I'm like, yeah, I think I liked it. Cannot remember for the life of me. So that was episode 2, Smiles, written by him. So again, fresh, right? Something new, something different, something current, right? The fact the emojis are what survived. Very interesting stuff. Also liked that in the episode they made sure to say, hey, this isn't the first colony. There's other colonies that are out there. So don't worry, Bill. Yes, they're all humans that have been slaughtered and the Earth is gone. But please remember, by the way, I feel like, is it just a tradition that every companion now needs to see the end of the Earth in some form or another? Is it a tradition?
I'd say yes, kind of. It is a part of it. It's it's a tradition, but it also feels like it's, I don't know, a rite of passage in a way.
Yeah, but it's not every companion. It's just the ones where they do soft reboots. Where Rose, it's let's bring it to the end of the world. 11 with Amy. Oh yes, this is London just broken off on the back of a whale.
Right.
Right. Oh, hey Bill, how you doing? Doing well? Nice, perfect, happy to see you. Let's watch humanity get destroyed.
I feel like it's also more of a point to drive home, humanity's resilience and, going off into space and starting again and trying out different colonies. And, some work and, some don't. That's kind of life.
Right.
It's horrible when it happens, but, yeah.
Yes. So Thin Ice was written by Sarah Dollard. And Thin Ice, an episode that I loved, you would think that when it comes to Doctor Who, at least, she's written one episode before. This episode must have been one of the best episodes in the series, with such amazing social commentary. She wrote Face the Raven. Now, I'm not shitting on her for Face the Raven, but the difference between the two are literally night and day.
I mean, I enjoyed Face the Raven, but
No. I did. But the difference between them, I think it's just the outcome that, it's not her fault, but
style.
the outcome. Yeah. But like, how crazy is it that like she wrote Face the Raven, and then wrote this? And I only say that because usually when it comes to some Doctor Who writers, you can kind of tell after a while. You're like, oh, of course that was written by Gatiss or Gatiss, or like, oh, of course that was. So like you and I can watch an episode with no episode title, no credit, no writer's credit, and we'll look at each other and go, I think Moffat wrote that.
Yeah, I actually did that. I've been watching episodes with another friend of ours who does some Let's Plays, Anthony Toto, and me and him actually guessed. Like we were watching it one week and we saw just the intro and the title of the episode before the author of the episode comes up, and I'm like, yeah, that's a Moffat episode, and sure enough, it came up underneath, and we both just started laughing.
That's a lot of fun. And you mentioned Anthony Toto. He and I recorded a podcast actually coming up next month for Halloween in July. It's not as spooky as you would think, but it involves vampires, sort of. It's interesting. It has vampires. It's a little. Yeah. Just don't even. It's like, I don't want any fucking part of that. It's like, wrong, because you're going to be podcasting on stuff also related to the undead. For Halloween in July, but we'll get to that in July. Right now, we're still in June, so as everyone's like, thank you for pointing out the obvious, Nordahl. Anyway, and Knock Knock. By the way, Mike Bartlett's first episode ever for Doctor Who, and apparently he is a British playwright. And he's done a lot of things. He's done King Charles III, the film adaptation of his play of the same name that aired on BBC Two. He's done a lot of. So he does plays more so than Doctor Who. So when you say that you dislike Knock Knock, you're saying you dislike modern. I'm kidding. Tristan dislikes art.
I was going to say. I'm pretty sure that his plays are much different.
I don't know. I mean, the sci-fi elements, yes, but in terms of that love between a mother-child, that was that was such an interesting take.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the fact that I thought we could have, I actually thought we were going to redeem him, and or that he was going to, I don't know, something bad was going to happen, bad. But, no, it's just their love and their bond, and dude, I cried so hard. They're both dead. They're both fucking dead. There were fireworks in the background. People are celebrating while they're both dead.
Well, I think what really just kind of it's funny. The idea of everyone lives, Rose. It's like, well, in this episode, yes. Well, not everyone got to live, but it's more of it's our time, son. Come on. You've been doing this for way too long. It's like, I want you to live and go out your life. It's like, no, I'm not going to. I'm staying with you. All right. I mean, I guess we're going together then. But it was the fact that, not that I wanted all of Bill's friends to die, because that would have been traumatic for her. And if that didn't affect her character in a very negative way, it would have been bad. But I don't want Bill to be horribly affected by something, at least not to that level, not yet. Hopefully not. Hopefully she doesn't have to go through that, but it's Doctor Who. Who are we kidding? But it's it feels too soon for something like that.
Just think of it like this, man. In the writer's room, they all had to come to a consensus, and Moffat had to sit there and be like, look, we can't kill this little kid in thin ice and kill all of her friends. We can't do that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, so then Steven, so I guess we're going to have to kill off all her friends then. And there's a pause, and they're like, Steven! The kid's dead. The kid got eaten. He didn't come back.
Well, I mean, to be fair, so did her friends by the house, and yet they somehow like when the mother and son were destroyed, when the mother was destroyed, that life energy went back and brought them back. But then it begs the question, then what about all the other people that she absorbed? Why didn't they come back too? It's like, if they came back too, granted that would have caused different problems, but it just felt like,
remember something.
We have to bring Bill's friends back because otherwise it'll drive you nuts.
Okay,
That's
look at it like
what
this,
I didn't
right?
particularly like about it.
Well, look at it like this. If you get and I'm talking about not like real life, I'm talking about like in animated shows. When someone gets swallowed up by the whale and they're like, I got to get out of here, are they immediately dead if like the whale spits them back out, or if they like rip their way out, compared to the dude that's been in there for 50 years?
Yeah.
Like, because
I think it was just the way that the bugs absorb them, because it looks like they disintegrate.
It looked like they were relatively dead.
At least some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the guy, the musical guy, when he gets absorbed into the wall, like if they were all taken that way, I guess I could like understand, like it wouldn't be so like, wait, how are you still alive? Like, okay, they just got absorbed, they haven't been like eaten or disintegrated.
Yeah.
And I could have gone along with it a little more.
Yeah, they were probably trying to go for maximum creep factor and also trying to make the effects less practical. Because practical effects cost more. So them dissolving, I think, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong here, cost less than all of them going into a wall. Heck, if you remember, they filmed the Asian girl, I can't remember her name, but when she kind of melded into the tree, they filmed that in a really, like, at an angle where, like, they could get away with not, Right. It was very interesting.
And I feel like,
I was like,
like that I'm okay with. Like if you did that, if you made it look like the rest of them got absorbed and you weren't exactly sure like what happened to them exactly, or saw, I could find it a bit more believable. Like, oh, they are, quote unquote, savable. You know, there is something left to save. You know.
I just love that the choice had to be all her friends or dead kid, and they went with dead kid. You just have some of the writers that are like, look, man, all right, make me choose dead kid every time, all right? Don't make me choose. Dead kid every time. One kid in the 1800s or, 5 of her friends. Why are we making this choice? Because we got to make the choice. I guess I'll go with dead kid. You see what I mean? Dead kid wins.
Yeah.
They had to have this discussion, Tristan.
I feel like it's not the first time, though. So
it's not as funny. It's just, so do we go with dead child? Dead child.
Yeah.
All right, carry on.
All right. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I don't mean to make it really dark and terrible, but like the amount of children that have died in Doctor Who, it's like, dude.
I don't remember the last time. Wait, no, but please tell me. I don't remember the last time they killed a kid.
I mean, I'm just thinking over the series itself.
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of dead kids, but like in terms of like New Who, I'm pretty sure anytime they visibly show like a child on screen, it's like, oh no, don't worry, the monster spit him back out, and then the monster winked. Like, no, like Bill literally had to make the choice of let it go because it's suffering because of this asshole, but it still ate a kid.
Yeah.
Like, holy
I think
shit. Now, granted, I'm not saying Bill should have killed a monster. I'm just saying that it's crazy that, like, the monster didn't, like, burp the people out and be like, thank you. And they were like, no, thank you. Ha ha ha. And then it, like, left. Like, the fact that it's just, like, the monster's like, oh, my God, thank you for freeing me. I'm so happy. Like, even Bill just smiling, like, he's so happy. And I'm like, that kid died, like, 40 minutes ago. I know you moved on, and I'm proud of you for it, but holy shit.
I think it's supposed to be the idea that it's not the creature's fault. It's just, it eats things. We all, like,
and it would eat other things, but this guy's
an
asshole.
We're all beings. Yeah. We consume other things to live. So it's not really, the monster's fault. It's just doing what it would naturally do. Yes, it's unfortunate that the child is the one that gets eaten because they ran out onto the ice, but...
And that's because of this jerk's fault. Like,
right.
It's not, like, technically, I guess the idea is, technically, the monster wouldn't eat people. The monster eats other things. Well, no, I'm not saying that it can't. I'm saying that it doesn't.
Right.
Like, we could eat people, but we don't, Tristan. We don't.
Well, I feel like that's a different... Because that's cannibalism. That's different. This is a predatory animal.
And delicious, but we don't,
a food source. Well, okay then. His words, not mine, ladies and gentlemen.
No, but in all seriousness...
Just gonna distance myself from that.
Tristan, we're on the phone. I can see that you're on the phone. Stop moving, Tristan. What's funny
Stop
is
staring into my window when we're casting.
No, that's the funny thing. I know what room he's doing this from, so I just imagine him turning around slowly in a swivel chair, and there's like a cat on the window. Freaks him the fuck out. Anyway.
I know where you cast from too, Matt, but you're up 2 stories.
That's true,
so
I am.
It's a little difficult.
Aha. It is, yet still at my window.
You just
right
see a
now.
pogo stick flying up by your window. Like, what the fuck?
That man must have strong calves. Anyway, so 3 floors.
I'm just built like a JoJo character.
But basically, you're built like that's all you are, just a JoJo character. But I just feel as if, like, I'm happy she moved on. But even though, I guess your thought is correct. You know, the monster, I'm not saying it can't eat people, but, like, seemingly it would eat other fish in the ocean. Like, it would live like other fish do in that ecosystem. But it was trapped, and it's being fed, essentially, these kids. And I say being fed because the guy could have just not held those festivals. But he did, to lure people there. And then, they fell through the ice. No one would know. It's like, you asshole. Also, he's a racist, which is like a whole other bag of shut the fuck up. To him. Like, it's just like...
1800s, so I mean, even Bill points it out when they first walk out of the TARDIS. She's like, you realize it's not, like, quote-unquote safe for me, right? He's like, oh, right.
So,
wardrobe.
Well, here's the thing. Before we get to that beautiful moment, I just want to say that, 1800s, aristocracy, white aristocracy, But now here's something interesting, though. Like, I find this very interesting. The fact that they finally, like, in some ways, I'm a little sad that it took until 2017 for them to bring up the fact that, like, doctor, if you have an African-American companion or just a black companion, and you're in the past, Earth's past, things might get a little dicey.
Right.
And they finally bring it up, and I'm like, wow, thank you. Because it's something people have said on the internet for a very long time. People have said it in like, oh, we can't have a black doctor because if we do, then he can't go to the past. And, like, I think you and I may have brought it up as like, oh, God, like, that is a thought. But not like that's why we can't have a black doctor. Just like, ooh, that's a bad thought to have, right? Not like bad as in someone can't think it, but, like, if you say that's the reason why we can't have a black doctor, I think you're going too far. But still, it's just a thought like, he has a black companion, and you're in the 1800s. Now, he reminded her, and thankfully she noticed it, it's not like black people didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just that so much of history is taught to us in a way that even when people acknowledge, like, oh, slavery happened and was bad, it was as bad as people said, if worse, right? Definitely worse. Right. And, and all this stuff. And all that's true. But people forget that black people also just existed in some cases, too.
Right.
Or at the very least would travel around with people. Right? Like, it wasn't just field work. Now, I say just as if like that, is something simple. No, it's horrendous.
Right.
But still, I think people, when they think of slavery, they think, oh, you're either in the fields or you're working in a house, and that's it. So when she's like, there are black people here.
Right.
And the doctor says, yeah, it's been whitewashed. And I was like, oh, they just said that out loud too.
Yeah. Or,
I was
yeah.
like, damn,
I love the way he had put it. It's like, yeah, of course there are. It's like, it's still the world that people are going to be out in it. It's like, it's just history is a whitewash.
Yeah. No, it's true, because you're starting to, and I say you, not like you personally, but like people in general are starting to learn this year that like, oh, wait a minute, African American women helped send, men into space. Yes, but we don't learn about that. We just learn those brave men that went into space. And they, not only they weren't brave, they could have died, right?
Right.
Because it's very hard, like sometimes you might trip and, on the moon landing set. But I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
But, I'm kidding. It's just so hard if you don't get the AC working. I'm kidding. That's why the flag was moving. I'm kidding. But seriously, no, in all seriousness though, right? Like, they could have died going to space. So you sit there and you're like, yeah, and who sent them? Like, why aren't we asking that question? It's like, yeah, because they're African American and no one wanted to ask. And it's rough because there are so many different cases now that you're seeing through movies or just general discussion of all different kinds of people that were just, it's as if they just didn't exist until, like, in some cases, some people act as if trans people didn't exist until, like, 2013. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like, no, apparently, right, there was a lot of trans history and even, medical, like, medical documents on, trans, therapy and, like, in transitioning and different kinds of ways of surgery and all this different stuff about trans history in books in Germany. I'm going to say in the early 1940s, late 1930s. And guess what happened to those books, Tristan?
They probably got burned.
They did.
Yeah.
All that gone. And that's in the fucking early 1940s.
Right.
So much about people in history has just been whitewashed. Like, we use whitewash today to talk about it in, entertainment, right? Like, oh, this character, this is happening to this character. And granted, I'm not saying that it isn't wrong, but we talk about it today in such ways that, like, oh, no, this character from this anime is now white. Damn, right? Where literally the doctor sits there and is just like, oh, yeah, no, everyone existed. No one just fucking talks about it. Right, talking about Jesus, and it's like, actually the Jesus line is what got to me. I was like, oh, we're going there.
Oh, right, yeah. Wow.
Now,
London's
and the reason
a bit more
why...
black than you'd expect. It's like, yeah, so was Jesus, too.
Ooh, jeez. Jesus.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, but it's accurate. You
Yeah.
know, because it's like, guess what? If you're in the Middle East at
Right.
that time,
Yep.
yeah. Like, it's even worse, I think, to say, no, you got to understand. All right, everybody else in the Middle East at that time had dark hair and they were brown and they looked, like that. But Jesus, he was the Savior. That's why he was white. It's like, wait a minute. No.
Yeah.
No.
Wait.
Be very fucking
oh.
careful. Anytime anyone tries to say anything like that, I immediately become the doctor. Stay exactly where you are. Don't move. Don't say another word. What's going on?
Why?
We're about to get into a verbal landmine right now.
No.
One more misstep, and they will be coming for you. Who's they? Everyone. I immediately become the doctor. Anytime anyone's about to say some shit about Jesus being white. Like, anytime. It's like, no, he has to be white. There's just no way. Please. Understand, there's no time. Like, that's just how I feel. So, yeah, just the idea that we had the doctor say that, I was like, damn. Also, even though, you have people say all the time, oh, it shouldn't matter if someone's gay or straight. And guess what? It doesn't in
Right.
terms of discrimination, but in terms of saying, hey, they exist, yeah, it doesn't matter. So that's why Bill can fancy girls, can like girls. Like,
right.
I bring girls over that she likes. And in the first episode, Bill can be like, hey, I like her. And guess what? I saw that girl. Bill has great taste in women. Bill has great taste in women. Like, the second she was into that girl, I was like, fucking get a beer with Bill. Bill's great. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, to be fair, like, yeah, of all the companions to hang out with, I feel like, I don't know. Like, I guess in the sense,
I think out of the newer companions,
yeah,
you want to hang out with Bill. Oh, I'm sorry. When
right.
I say newer, I'm referring to like 11 and 12.
Right.
Because I would love to hang out with Donna.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Rose, personally.
No. Yeah, I mean, shit, I'd
Yeah.
hang out with Rose too, probably, but.
Yeah. No. Well, you can't say that because then we're leaving out Martha. And I feel like if we're leaving out Martha this,
no.
we're just the 10th Doctor.
Oh God,
no.
Yes, I would definitely want to hang out with Martha too because I mean she
No,
was
but
one of
it's
my
okay
favorites.
Oh, happy to hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Look, I'm just trying to say that with Bill, like, when it comes to, people, because you have a lot of people that try to say, I don't say a lot, but like you hear a lot of vocal backlash when a character in a show
right.
is gay, and because you hear this idea of like, oh, like, well, it's in my face. It's just like, look, if the show opened up and she was fucking her, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, guys.
Torchwood?
Yeah, right? Like, from 1 to Torchwood, how sexy is this show? Right? Like, it's just, that's how I feel.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I really want that to be an actual scale to, like, judge a show by. On a scale of 1 to Torchwood, how sexy is this?
Oh, it's a Game of Thrones.
God.
I didn't know you watched porn. Anyway, so if we're comparing it to Torchwood, Game of Thrones is a whole other level. But
fair enough. Yeah.
But seriously though, right? You hear all this backlash, right? Where it's just like, oh, it's in my face, and I will admit though, I will give the smallest little tiny. We don't really have companions who are straight have their first episode be about them being interested in a boy or a man. That's the only thing that I will say to anyone that tries to say, oh, the first step. But like, other than that, though, I don't think it's a problem for her to be gay. And so anyone's saying like, oh, it shouldn't matter, she doesn't even have to say that she's gay. It's like, no. Representation matters. Yeah. Right? She should talk about the fact that she's gay because you know what? Other companions, even though I say like, oh, you don't have them focusing on, trying to date a man or trying to find a man specifically, you still have situations where like Jack Harkness is there, and it's like, hello, right. Martha, stop it. Yeah.
What?
I'm just saying hi.
Hello. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have situations like that, right? So, if you have situations like that, there's no reason why you can't have a situation like that with Bill. Yeah. I'd just like to say half of the situations with Amy and, Rory. There we go. I blanked for a split second. You were just like, if you blank out on Rory like that, forget his name, forget he exists, you might just be Amy. Now, you might be like, Matt, I don't mean that in general, I mean that literally when he disappeared. Yeah. But I think, you know what? No, I think for this, for Bill, it wasn't. They did it in a way where, like, I feel like it wasn't in your face, and it wasn't the idea of we have to establish that right now, like right here, right now, when he first meets her. It's like, it's not like she introduced herself and said, hi, I'm Bill, I'm gay. It's like, no, it was more like just her generally talking about herself, and it's like,
or just talking about her day. And it's like, yeah, if you're just talking about stuff and, you know, that will come up in conversation, yes, just here and there. It's like, oh, you know, like she fancied the girl or whatever, but it was just in a conversation.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about it. I'm not talking about it in a sense that like, oh, daily conversation, normal conversation, or you know, like in a normal day. I'm referring to it comparing to other companions, because obviously there's other companions that exist. People compare it to other companions, but also usually something that I'll say to even counter that point for everyone that goes, see, so he's agreeing with us. Every other companion has either gotten out of a relationship or something like that, or has already been dating someone at that point. So that's why we usually don't focus on that. Where, like, you know, Amy's married, so she's not going to be focusing on a man in that first episode.
I mean, hell,
I'm sorry, not married.
The first time you see Donna, she was getting married.
Right, and then the next time, she had kind of gone away from that, so no.
Right.
And then, of course, you know, we have Rose in a relationship. Martha was, I think, just out of one. Right?
Something like that, yeah.
You know why? Because I remember it was actually the Mark Gatiss episode where there was that giant spider when they met the family. I'm pretty sure the family was like, oh, another one, or oh, what happened to the last one, or something like that. So I believe she went through a recent breakup. I believe, anyway. Anyway, and then, Donna, you know, again, just getting out of that marriage thing with a spider, or with a man who works with a spider. Really weird shit. And then we have Clara, who ends up meeting Danny Pink during the show. But still, I just feel like, well, I'm very happy to have Bill as a character in so many different ways, because we haven't had, you know, a woman of color on the show in a very long time, like as a companion. And there's no reason why we can't, because this isn't like people try to say things all the time like, oh, you know, Doctor can't be black. I'll say there's no reason why we can't, right? But still, whatever, right? But it's not like this is taking the role of anyone else. I'm not saying we have to have diversity every single time, but like we just haven't had an African-American companion since Martha. Or someone even just near the Doctor, kind of somewhat ready to travel with him, who is African-American since Martha. Why? Right? Like, you just sit there and you're like, why? It just doesn't make sense. And we've never had as far as I know, I don't know about, you know, any of the novels or anything like that, or any of the radio plays, but as far as I know, we've never had a gay companion.
Yeah, like that was one of the only big things that I heard people backlashing about, you know, about Bill being gay. It was like, oh, like one of the first openly gay characters or whatever. There were a few different characters that people referenced, but one of the big ones that I remember was just people were referencing Jack. And it's like, yes, but that's different. Like, he's omni. He's everything. And that's...
Yes.
I feel like that's different,
but you're saying,
in a way.
So you don't think there'd be a backlash if Bill, not Omni because she hasn't been to space, but if Bill also liked that guy in Knock Knock? Because even though I would like, you know, people to be represented who are also bi, I think that would cause people to then confuse, and then people to say, oh, so she can't choose. Like, I feel like making her gay is better, so that people don't think that she's just some confused girl, and that's what, even though bisexuality should be represented more, I still feel like it is better to make her gay. I'm not saying anything to you, I'm saying just in general, because I worry that if they made her like Jack, then people would still write it off anyway. Like, I feel like no matter what, people were going to write this character off. Despite the fact that I still remember backlash. Like, it's not like I'm the only one who says, you know, I feel like we could have less Clara. There are a lot of people online that say that a lot differently.
Yeah.
A lot differently. So, you know, but still, new companion, African-American, and now gay as well. Of course, you're going to have people on the internet, some who may have some concerns and may actually be like, oh, okay, I see what you mean here. Other ones, trolls, and other ones, racists or homophobic.
Right.
Like, it happens. So I feel like they weren't going to be wowed unless she was white and straight.
Yeah.
And
it's
or
funny.
straight.
I haven't seen, like me personally, I haven't seen much backlash like that against Bill. I mean, maybe I just haven't been looking hard enough because obviously, just humanity being humanity, it's going to be out there. But yeah, it feels to me like as a companion she was well received,
Yes.
Which is nice.
Well, generally these episodes have been well received from what I've been looking at.
Yeah.
Very hard to find negative reviews, and it's interesting because that didn't shape me at all. I was feeling hyped before I read the reviews, and I was like, but when I'm reading them, I was like, so I guess I'm correct in all of my feelings.
Well, that's why when we were doing some of the
yeah.
other episodes wrapping up, when I was saying, like, you should look forward to the new, like, Series 10, because, I don't know, it just feels like, at least with these first few episodes, at least for me, I think 1 through 5, we kind of got back to, I don't want to say, like, oh, how I remember Doctor Who when it was better, not like that, but, like, I don't know. It feels like everything doesn't have to be this crazy twist or this elaborate plot. It's like we can have an episode, that is resolved in just one episode. Yes, there's some danger, but it's not causing the end of the world, or it's going to lead into a battle that will then cause the end of the world or something huge. And it's not that I don't like those. It's just I feel like I kind of feel like you brought up the point too. When it feels like it's every other week, it kind of takes away from that sense of danger and that sense of suspense when those big events do happen.
Right. But, however, so here's where we disagree a little bit. So even though it's funny, you're like, Matt, I just fucking quoted you, asshole. So obviously I agree with myself. But when it comes to, because
my words, not yours.
Because you were talking about what?
I mean, most of
what did you say?
Me interpreting you, or just my words mostly.
No, but
so
no,
yes,
but you're correct about that 100%. That's but you're right. That's what I said because we did the podcast recently, so I remember. That's what I said. I'm referring to you saying like, oh, episode 6. It was not that you didn't like it, but it was such a big event, and I'm like, I accept that. Why? Because episode 1 was actually quite lackluster in that respect. Episode 1 wasn't this big grand event like when they soft rebooted with 11.
Right.
Even though, to be fair, 11 it only contained it was only in a small town, but still 11 had to save the world from an area where the post office was closed because it was Sunday. Like 11 had to do a lot in that small amount of time, but still a kind of like soft in a way. It wasn't like a large like end of the world event, but those fucking giant eyes though. Like so to be fair, there was a bit more there I think than. Like, the only thing I'll say that was, I think, negative about focusing on Bill and I think her name was Heather for the whole episode is that it felt kind of small in terms of its weight. Not that, in terms of, like, if that same episode happened as episode 2 or 3, I'd be okay with it.
Right.
But the fact that it was, like, it wasn't an end-of-the-world scenario. Not that I'm saying that every opener should be. I remember I said that last time. Like, oh, not even every opener should be an end-of-the-world scenario. But I feel like to say, like, oh, it wasn't even really a monster. It was just jet fuel that wants to make you happy. Okay. Granted, Doctor Who in a nutshell. Just weird combined with weird equal weird. But still, it was a little weird as a season opener. Now... Right? And also, by the way, that being followed up with Thin Ice. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Thin Ice wasn't the next one. The next one was Smile, which was off-world, which the reason why Smile took me off, not ticked me off a little bit or, like, threw me off, was because I thought the Doctor was going to stay on world. And I was like, yes, I am in for this. And then it was like, JK, we're going to the future. And I was like, oh, Oh, I see how it is.
Right.
Like, it's weird. We've had these villains that, even though I don't want everyone to be end of the world, it felt weird that it was like space fuel, emoji bot, and then racist man. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting Doctor Who rogues gallery.
Right.
Hopefully we never see racist man again.
Well, I mean, I felt like, so for Thin Ice, I felt like it was nice to see, like, an evil person being, but, like, it's the alien being harmed by an evil person. The Doctor and companions stop the evil person. And then with Smile, it's humans building the robots to help them build a new colony for themselves. So you're still, like, you're not on Earth, yes, but you're still dealing with humanity. And the idea that, humanity tries to make something to help themselves and gets a little overzealous with it, and it ends up kicking them in the ass.
True.
And with the pilot, I feel like it was a nice start for Bill, just to kind of dip her feet in the water as a companion. So
water.
I feel like it might have been better if you saw the puddle take over a few other people first.
Yes.
And then you get to Heather. And then you got to Heather, and then that's what sucks, nearly gets Bill caught into it.
Also, by the way, I think that, and this isn't their fault at all, like being like characters, but even the writers, it's not their fault. Whoever did the CG for the puddle, it made ripples.
Right.
So it was like, your reflection is too perfect, but it wasn't, though. Or at least it was hard to portray.
Right.
I feel like they didn't do, like, the way they did the CGI, it didn't look like a mirror. It looked like water, which is kind of a problem, because the point is that it wasn't supposed to be like there's ripples or that it's warped. It's supposed to be like, isn't it weird that looks exactly like you?
Right.
So, like, I don't know, maybe it was just me in that case. But
I did like the effect of Heather coming out, like, taking form as a person out of the water as it was following them everywhere.
That was beautiful.
I personally liked it. Yeah.
Also, the fact that she could follow, like, it makes sense that she's fuel, not water. But at first I was like, wait, she can follow them anywhere? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because,
now, like, that's the
also,
only thing, I guess, for the episode that was kind of confusing for me. I wish they'd kind of explained what the hell
she's
the
fuel,
quote-unquote monster was.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. Basically, what it was is that, they explained it somewhat, obviously, but I think just expanding on it, it's like, hey, super cool alien rocket ship that is fucking amazing, right? It does everything for you. Even the fuel apparently just wants to help you. The fuel is essentially the smile emoji, like the emoji bot. So as fuel, it's like, I'll help you get anywhere you want to. She's like, I just want to leave because I'm just like me, And all of a sudden it's like, sure, you can go anywhere you like. And it basically attached itself to her and helped her go anywhere she liked. So as fuel, it kind of makes sense, but as water, originally, which is what we thought she was, really confusing. Yeah. And even then, of course, I had a fan explain it. Like, it seemed like the Doctor didn't really know what the fuck was going on either.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Yeah. Also, I would like to say, even though I'm sure we're going to know more about it later, it feels like, I guess Missy was on trial for literally everything and anything. Because, for everything. No, because I only bring it up because, like, I thought when I saw Time Lords or people who look like Time Lords near the Doctor, I was like, he has this TARDIS, but what did they do? Because, like, when he's like, oh, no, I have to stay on Earth, but then doesn't, and then we see Time Lords, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't think they were, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think they actually specifically said whether they were or not. They seem just like executioners for hire, like, because just talking about we pride ourselves on how, good we are at being able to execute anything in the known universe.
Right.
Like,
fair enough.
Well,
fair enough.
shit. It's like, I know you take pride in your profession, but holy crap, guys. You gotta be a little disturbed to enjoy killing things and being good at it.
Yes. So I laughed really hard, and I'm talking about like really, really hard, when, my God, when it was like, check Dr. Death. Okay, you've died a few times, so what? No.
Yeah.
Death because of.
Right.
Beep, 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 beep.
That is impressive. Oh, that's very impressive. That's even. Oh wow. Where are the rest of you going?
Favorite,
You're not armed, are you?
That actor.
Never. Yeah.
Whoever played the actor was brilliant, because it was just, he's not armed. You're not armed, are you? It was comedic genius. Just, come on, why are you running away? He's not armed. You're not armed, are you? Never. It's like, well, then you should be scared. Never. And he's just like, well, you have a good day then. And he leaves. Literally.
Yeah.
We execute everything in the galaxy other than the Doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed these 6 episodes. Again, only, like little things here and there that I didn't enjoy, like I've already mentioned. I love that Knock Knock we went back to Earth. I can understand how you how you feel about it. I think what I feel frustrated about is that apparently, I think the kid that was following around the Doctor in that episode, I say kid, but they were all, in college. He was supposed to be, like originally the script had written him in as, let me make sure I got this right. They had written him in as the son of an older companion of the Doctor's. But they scrapped the idea, and I'm like, but wait, that makes sense because he was around him so much anyway.
Right.
Like, it feels like they wrote that out, but they still kept the rest of it in because they're like, well, no, it makes sense that one of them is still with him, and why are we going to write, like, scrap all that? But it was just kind of weird because, like, let me see, I want to make sure I get the exact one. Hello? Where? Wait, no. I was like, no, I'm sitting here like, am I on the right episode? Matt may not have been on the right episode, everybody. Oh, by the way, I just want to make everyone know, in case they didn't know, in case you were unaware, Stephen Moffat wrote Extremis. In case anyone was like, who wrote that episode with all the plot twists and the...
Yeah.
It was that man. It was that man.
I'm pretty sure that was the episode that me and Anthony looked at each other. Moffat, written by Stephen Moffat.
Right?
Called it.
Basically. Oh, Knock Knock, just a random one-off, was originally titled The Haunted Hub. So fucking happy they went with Knock Knock. You have no idea. Sorry, The Haunted Hub. Ooh. And I love alliteration, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where it is. It was, in an earlier version of the script, Harry, one of Bill's friends, was to be revealed as the grandson of a previous companion of the Fourth Doctor, Harry Sullivan. But this scene was later dropped from the final script. And I'm pretty sure Harry is the one that was hanging around the Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, once everyone was captured. Either way, I like Knock Knock, right? And then we had Oxygen, and I really want to, before we wrap everything up, because before we were talking about different episode titles and who wrote them, Oxygen was written by Jamie Matheson. And Jamie Matheson has written, and again, remember, Oxygen was the one that, even though I enjoyed that there were zombies, right? I enjoyed that, it's like, capitalism is key, the theme of charging you for your own breath. And I know you enjoyed it as well, the episode itself. But he has written, Jamie Matheson has written, for series 8, 9, and 10 of Doctor Who. And the episodes that he's written are Mummy on the Orient Express, Flatline, and The Girl Who Died. So, strangely enough, not like you would think that it would be more of the space station episodes, but still, it was still like a plot that I think has been tired and overused at this point. So when you said, oh, even though you were still agreeing with me anyway, but still when you said, oh, you know, I'm not a big fan of the big event plots unless they're in the beginning or the end of a series, right? I would argue that I'll take this plot for episode 6, especially because it technically didn't even happen, right? But I'll take the plot for episode 6 rather than having episode 5 be a thing for a while. Because I don't know why. I just feel like Moffat has, and it's not just Moffat, you know, of course Davies did it as well, but in Moffat's run, he's really killed the, oh, let's do something in a space station kind of episode, where Davies, to people, killed using Cardiff, right? So for Davies, everyone was like, oh, God, stop just being around London. Go somewhere else, right? Now, for me, I didn't care because I don't live there. But I'm sure, you know, for people who either did or for people who just wanted to, you know, make jokes about it online, it was a lot of fun to just be like, get out of Cardiff, move, go to space more, go to the past more, whatever. But when it came to Moffat, I feel like just it's been way too much like, oh, hey, what's going on in this space station that is not abandoned? Oh, there's crew here. Oh, no, some are dead. Oh, man, we're trapped, aren't we? That's happened so much. It even got into Christmas. It even happened at Christmas, Kristen. It did.
I mean, yeah, and it's even in 10 and 11 too. 9 even too. Like a lot of throughout New Who, there's been the situation of being stuck on a space station.
Of course, but I feel
funny.
like recently it's just been.
I enjoy that kind of story. So, like, seeing it's always, like, yes, it feels a little formulaic in a way, but I feel like as long as they put enough of a twist on, like, why they're stuck in the space station or just the people that are working with them, which a lot of them usually, it feels, I guess, here, like, a lot in Oxygen, most of them were killed off already, and even the ones that survived, only 2 of them make it down to the very end with the Doctor.
Bill being racist is the funniest thing I think I could have seen. And the reason why is because it came off as like the idea of like a white liberal person who's like, I'm so liberal and you know, and I'm white but I'm liberal, so I understand your struggle, Shanae. And the person's like, my name is Jill. And in her head, and she doesn't know how to say, like, oh, I just thought because you were black, because then, or she does, and it's like, what are you doing? That is not a not racist thing to say. You know, see what I'm saying? So, like, it was just kind of funny that, like, she as an African-American person, like, obviously, you know, on Earth, right, faces racism, but in space, she's like, oh, you shocked me because of my blue skin. Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. I've never met someone with blue skin. Of course you haven't. I can tell. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
It shows. Well, that was, it was fun. Like, me looking at that, I'm like, oh, okay. And then, but a little bit later, like, the next line, oh, God, I just lost it. The next line of dialogue was like, oh, God. Come on.
Well, when she said,
out?
are you talking about when she said, "Oh, I'm usually on the receiving end"?
Yeah, and then he turns around and goes, "Really? Why?"
She gave this smile of like, "Oh, if I were straight." She gave this smile. No, because like for a split second I was like, oh, she's into, oh wait, no, she's not, and that's okay. For a split second, like any other companion, it kind of felt like, hello, mister. And like it was just kind of funny.
I feel like it was
like,
it was kind of like an appreciative thing, like, oh, I could just kiss you for that right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I were straight. Yeah. But I know what you mean, yes. An appreciative kiss. Nothing weird,
not
just
the sense of interested in them, but just like
out
of sheer appreciation. I could kiss you right now.
Yeah. It was
sad he
funny
died.
how
I was really hoping he would make it to the end.
You know why I was sad? Because there was something about him. Like, I felt like he'd seen some shit, and I felt like if he was going to go, he'd be like, I'm going to fucking headbutt you. Like,
right,
it sucked
or
that
he would sacrifice himself to save the rest of the group, or just, like, it would be something big, you know? It wouldn't just be like, oh, no, I've been caught from behind. It's like, oh, God damn it.
Like, you know what it is? Maybe it's because of the fact that, like, maybe they were already setting that up. Like, oh, no, well, we introduced him in that, you know, funny segment or whatever. But to me, it felt like because of his demeanor, because of his general disposition, it felt like he was a badass. And also, by the way, and I know this sounds random, I love the makeup they used on him. The makeup they used on him has felt more realistic than a lot of like other aliens I've seen throughout the show. That have been just as minimal. Like, it was so interesting that they went so minimal with him, but somehow he just looked sleek. Like, it didn't look like he had makeup on. That looked like his skin.
Right.
It was so interesting. Like, I didn't sit there and be like, oh, yeah, I can see where. Like, no, I was like, damn, that dude is an alien.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was really good makeup on their end. Also, same thing with the wood woman.
Right.
Like, that was freaky as fuck. Like, her just coming in like that, like, as wood, I was like, oh, well, okay. You are wood. But anywho, so I think we're going to wrap things up here. We've been doing this for a while, everyone. But it's okay, because you can tune in next week for another episode of Doctor Who Wednesday, where we do 7 to 10, if everything goes well. But you might be wondering, Matt, how will I know if everything goes well or not? Tell me now. Well, everyone's on the edge of their seat. Well, you can go on our Facebook, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, or our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, and get constant updates on our Let's Plays and our podcasts. Also, by the way, speaking of our Let's Plays, you can actually find our Let's Plays over at our YouTube channel, which you search up Those Guys Play, and you'll find a plethora of videos that we've been doing for a very long time now. We finished Season 3 recently. We currently are in the middle of Summer of Love, where I'm playing dating sims non-stop, either one per day, or if I miss a day, you'll obviously get Those Guys Play, like, other episodes. But if I do end up missing a day, then it's okay, right? Because I'll just end up throwing you 2 Let's Plays the next day of Summer of Love. So there's a lot going on. Played a bunch of different dating sims so far. Been playing the Nicolas Cage dating sim, Legacy of Harambe, Hikoki Fakuboto, where you date boats, In Good Company, where you are a bird dating other household items, just a bunch of All My Bowies, where you find a bunch of different David Bowies. There's so much going on, Tristan. There's so many. Monster Plus Connect, where you have to help a monster and a human find each other, even though they're in different worlds and they have to come together. There's Kaiju Dating Simulator, where you go on a date with a monster named Godzilla. We have so much on the channel, so search up Those Guys Play to find it. Speaking of our podcast again, if you want to find us through iTunes, you can search up Those Guys to find us there. You're listening to us right now, so I assume you might be listening to us through iTunes or through our Blog Talk Radio account, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, or through our YouTube archives by searching up Those Guys on the Radio on YouTube. Speaking of our podcast and our Let's Plays, there's also merchandise you can get on our main website, which is tgproduction.net/merchandise, and our eBay, which is /USR/ThoseGuysRadio. And on our eBay, not only are there exclusive posters and some really cool merchandise, posters, by the way, drawn by one of our Let's Players /podcasters, Anthony Sanandris, but you can also get some things for with free shipping, just like on our website, by the way, but on our website and, of course, on our eBay, bunch of different T-shirts from our Let's Plays and from our podcast as well, either funny quotes or different variations of Those Guys Play with a lot of funny fonts and awesome, logos. And our Patreon account, which is TG Productions. You can help keep the lights on, help keep things running smooth, and, of course, get different rewards as well. We're even revamping it to add in more rewards just for you guys. All right, so I want to thank you all for listening in as always, and I think it's time to say goodnight. So say goodnight, Tristan.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, I thought he was dead. If he didn't respond after that, I was like, the suit got him. After he was just breathing too much. I was a little nervous.
I ran out of oxygen.
He ran out of oxygen. All right, thank you all. Hope you had fun. I did. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait for the next half. So let's move on to more Who, which is something I never thought I'd say. I feel bad about it. I feel bad because I've been liking Who, but nothing compared to these last 6 episodes. So thank you all. Love you guys, and take care. So good night.